everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I've got someone very special with me today. She's doing another amazing thing just like everyone else, but she's doing it with a twist. So it's going to be really interesting to hear a bit more about her motivation, how she started her business, and a lot more about that. So let's get started. Hi and welcome, Elisabeth. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me here.
It's going to be interesting to hear your story.
I'm quite excited too.
Yeah. So I'm thinking we can start with just tell us a bit more about who you are, where you're from, and what you're doing.
I am Elisabeth Gomez, and I was born and raised in Gambia, West Africa. It's like the tiniest country in Africa, mainland Africa. But I moved to Sweden for like 21 years ago. And I was in my late teens when I came here, so I had to go to school and did a year or two in high school to do a few subjects and of course learn the language, and then I went to university. I have a degree in mathematics and a degree in natural science. So after my graduation, I've been working as an actuary, mainly in the finance and insurance sector. And today I work as a senior consultant with a Swedish consulting company within the finance and insurance sector. So that's what I do.
That's a lot. That's a lot. And then you run your business, Facil Clothing. So tell us a bit more about that.
I started Facil Clothing for almost a year and a half. 15 months. Sorry, it's 15 months today since I started the company. It is a Swedish company, and I have the parent company is Swedish, and then I have another company in Gambia, where I was born and raised, and so we do our production in Gambia, and we have the brand also established in the Gambia.
All right, so tell us a bit more about how you started it. Why did you decide to start Facil Clothing, and where did the need come from?
As I said, I started it 15 months ago, and why did I have to start it? Because there is a huge need for underwear. It's very hard to get quality underwear just off the street.
Really?
Or walk into your department store. So it's very scarce, and especially with female underwear and bras, it's almost impossible to get what you want. You'll have to buy something that you're not comfortable with, or it's too oversized, or it's too small for you, and it's very rare that you go to a store and get the right size and then you come back later 6 months later and get the same size. So there is no production of underwear being done in western part of Africa.
Really?
No. So everything is imported, and the 95% of people get underwear from open air markets. It's second-hand clothing.
Oh, like outdoor. Okay.
Outdoor markets. The underwear that you get rid of here in Sweden, it's worn out, or the second-hand clothing you give away here in Sweden is collected in bales and then shipped down to Africa and resold at those markets. So as a local consumer, that's the best place you can find underwear. And for a female, it's almost you can't and most people into this business are men. And you, as a female, buying your underwear or a bra, the guy selling those bales of clothing is not your best advisor. So you will have to spend hours and lifting and checking if it fits you. The size, maybe the size has worn out or it's been cut off. You don't know what size it is. You don't know. It's a pain.
Wow.
It's a big pain. Getting underwear. And the same applies to male for males. So so over the years, when I go back home for holidays, people's lives in Africa, in most parts of Africa, are improving actually. This idea we have here in the West, it's still very, very old-fashioned. People are actually improving their lives on their own. So there is a market that's opening up for affordable people having making their own money and can buy something more affordable, something that is newly produced for themselves. You know. And so I saw this. I didn't see the opportunity myself. I'm still with this, this Swedish thing that we'll have to put away 1% of our GDP to sponsor projects in the developing world. You know, so I didn't see that. So I kept traveling back with gifts, mainly clothing, and it's heavy to take.
And it costs a lot.
And it costs
shipping.
you, and it costs you a lot. And then you have to pay excess baggage all the time, you know. And the more I sent back, I brought with me during my holiday trips, the more people became aware of the quality, and it lasts them longer. And every time I'm coming back home, sometimes I just call my mom, is Elisabeth coming back home this Christmas? Can I ask her to bring this? I'm ready to pay. I will pay this time. You know? The stuff she brought the other time was very, very good. And it wasn't sophisticated underwear. Because I was giving these away as presents. So it was more like going to Lindex, going to like the main high street shops and just buy cotton base underwear, you know, and give it away. And so there was this trip. I was together with my partner, and I had so much excess luggage, and he was pissed off with me. He said, "You always complain about this, and yet you still, this is a business. You know, you can do business. You know, you need to talk to DHL or someone to see if you can ship things down."
So he saw that.
He saw that right away. For me, it was, the helping mentality. I will get the excess cost back, but I need to help them. It's just, and
that's what you're used to, I guess. So like, I'm guessing it's hard to change the mindset. I didn't see that business opportunity until he said, this is something. Now you have people not only taking the gifts, but they're even willing to pay for them. Exactly.
So that was an eye-opening thing for me, and so I started doing my own research, asking them, how much would you pay if this was available locally? And so I got to get information, but it was information for those they were close friends or family members and their friends and their co-workers, because the thing just grew and grew. So maybe I'll have a network of 30 people that I had to interview, and it was good. It was good. So I was convinced after that Christmas break that this thing there was an opportunity. Which I didn't saw, and the market it can be big. So when I came back to Sweden, I started doing more research. Because I got the estimates of what they were willing to pay for a price range. Because people are still very, very poor, even though they can afford for themselves. But it's not like you and me. We just walk down to the street to H&M or B&B and buy something. Once every 3 months. But for them, maybe it will be buying 3 pairs of underwear for half a year or maybe a year. So it has to be something very well constructed. It has to be something that's sustainable. It's not something they will just wash and throw away.
Like good quality.
Very good quality. And something breathable. Because of the humid climate.
And the heat.
And and electricity is a problem. So there were so many factors that I had to go through and do research.
But did you know about this? Were you into the fashion? Because you came from the finance industry.
I am from finance. I know insurance, which is completely different. But as a consultant, you are a problem solver. So and this was a problem, and I wanted to solve it. And I didn't just. I was very naive, probably in the beginning, that oh yeah, it's not that difficult. Let me just go to China.
Buy ship.
Yeah, I'll just go and buy and ship it down for them to resell. You know, get someone and have a retail shop there.
Yeah.
So yes, I did. I took a friend. We went to China.
Yeah.
And then reality struck. Yes, in China we went to a trade show. And for that trip, what you learned before the trip, I did some research on Alibaba, on all these.
Like
Chinese,
eBay.
Not eBay, but more China, because I knew with that price that I had to beat for the market there, a local market in Gambia, I had to buy something cheap.
Okay, yeah.
It should be something very cheap.
Yeah.
And yet I had that moral thing behind that. Even though it's cheap, it should be something well constructed. It should be something that's sustained. That will sustain a lot of wash. You know. So with those factors in, then it will be very hard to get something from Europe for that quality, the minimum quality. So naive as I was, I I looked into China, and then reality struck me, because in China they deal with big brands. If you really want to get that quality, you'll have to step up. You have to buy big.
Oh, like in big bulks.
To get those good manufacturers, you have to buy big, or if you're not buying big, then you have to pay premium. To get that quality level. And I was just a startup. I was just researching an idea. So I don't have those muscles. I don't have that money to put into. And it was something I said to myself that I can do it just with my own savings and see where it goes. You know. Because I was very convinced that there is a market, and I still am. I'm still very convinced that there is a huge market, and which is very untapped. But what I learned from China was, this is going into China. I need backing. I need huge money
to create the volume.
To create the volume in order to offer that price range. So so it was, no, this is out of the question. This is nothing I can do. So what can I do then? So when I came back home, I started interviewing those same people, and I met this girl during that trip in Gambia, who used to work. She is a law student, and she used to work in one of those very fashionable shops that import a lot of clothing, even from European brands. And resell, and it was like where the higher middle class go shop whatever stuff they want, clothing. So I interviewed her, and she told me that actually how she made me believe that what I'm trying to do can be done locally.
Really?
Yeah.
Have to produce them yourself?
Locally.
Really?
Yeah, and I said, why not? We have skill centers. We have a lot of youth that leave those skill centers that they just end up being unemployed and are just staying home without skills. And Gambia is one of those countries. Statistics when you look at statistics of people leaving Western Africa trying to come to Europe through the Mediterranean Sea, Gambia is there. It's a very high percentage.
Okay.
So we have that problem of migration through this, through Mediterranean, and a lot of youth have died trying to come over.
Just doing the trip. Oh, that's so sad.
So with all those factors, and then I got so involved in the whole thing. I got very passionate about, why give those job opportunities to a Chinese when I can give that job opportunity to Gambians, and they produce something locally and sell locally.
Exactly.
And dress their own.
It's a win-win-win.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's that. So that's the idea I have, and that's what I'm working on.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing. But now it's such an interesting story, because you went from, you had one idea to then changing it after the demand, I believe, because you noticed that obviously this doesn't work, we'll do something else. Yeah. But I'm just thinking, because many people, when they get into this whole like, I don't know about you guys, but like when you think entrepreneurship, you only see someone when they've started, and then you see them, oh, they're super successful, like now they're Steve Jobs, they're this kind of person, but you don't see anything in between. You don't get to hear that kind of story. But I'm just wondering, like, what were the greatest challenges, apart from like doing the research and all of that? What has been the most challenging part?
Oh, the most challenging part, and it's still challenging, is the level of skill work locally that's available.
Yeah.
It's very, very poor. Even though I was told there are skill centers, you can employ youth or women from these centers, and then at the end of the day you have to re-educate them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those skills were very old-fashioned skills.
Yeah.
Those skills were nothing I could use for my underwear production.
Yeah.
And so I had to train them for half a year. Retrain them for half a year.
Wow.
Because in those skill centers, which are very poorly equipped, some of them don't even have machinery, and if they do, it's old-fashioned manual handmade sewing machines that they use.
Yeah.
And
that would take forever.
That would take forever.
Yeah.
And it's not electrical. And in order to industrialize this, I need to industrialize it to get some form of margins, in order to gain something from it and reinvest. So we had to look into industrializing the process as early as possible.
Yeah.
Because you can't, normally. Well, this school, normally in Africa, it's not something in Gambia. I've been to Tanzania, I've seen it there. Normally you have a tailor who just does custom-made stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
And it doesn't work when it comes to underwear, especially when with underwear people are not openly talking about underwear in Africa. And I don't know, I can't see a way of how you can do
tailor-made.
And
maybe you don't want it tailor-made either, because it's something. I don't know, some people have different preferences, but you just want the underwear for the use of it, or you want the high end, but then maybe you go to brands or whatever. So
I realized that these youth that I got from, most of them were unemployed, and I got a few from the schools, and had to train them for 6 months. What I realized during the training was that they were locally trained to be such tailors, have your own thing, you have your own veranda, and you just sew. Nothing to do with, they don't even know, their fabric knowledge on fabrics was very, 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 very low. They didn't know the difference between jersey fabrics, knitted fabrics and woven fabrics, for example, because in Africa we are used to use woven fabrics. So it's like our batik, the ankaras you see, they are all woven fabrics. So that's the kind of fabrics they are used to work with. So with knitted fabrics, like doing t-shirts, that type of fabric was nothing.
Did you have to teach them?
Yes,
like
we had to teach them all those basics.
But that's not something you knew. So did you take someone else in to kind of?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's one of those challenges I face and currently face. So every time I have to bring in experts from the UK, because Gambia is an English-speaking country.
Oh yeah.
So so I had to hire consultants, experts in different areas, experts in design work. I had to hire pattern makers. I had to hire machine specialists.
Wow.
Yeah. those were the three I had to hire and bring to Gambia. And luckily, one of the ladies I had, she's a teacher at Manchester University, I think. And she's a textile, she does textiles and something, design and textiles or something. And she was really, really good. Wow. Really, really good. And she was also very passionate about what I was doing. And it wasn't very difficult convincing her to come to Gambia and help out. Yes, she got paid, but she gave so much of that knowledge to these underprivileged youth. So, and then I had to bring in a guy who works with Marks and Spencer's. He's the head of their sewing. Now Marks and Spencer's owns no factory. I think I don't think they own a factory any longer.
No.
But
just for the guys who are listening, Marks and Spencer's is a huge retail company in the UK.
In the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was also very lucky because I bought all our machinery. We bought from a distributor in Manchester. And when we got the machinery, that was also one challenge. Yeah. When we got the machinery to Gambia and had to install everything, and then I realized the people that were going to be working with this machinery had no knowledge of it. Yeah. Don't even know how to. So I was in panic, and I had to call this distributor. I said, my staff doesn't know anything to do with industrial machinery. So which too was, with all the research I did, that part was way forgotten. I didn't know. I thought, they've gone to school, so of course they can run such machinery.
But then I'm guessing also they're probably new machinery and all that.
Yeah, they were new machinery and they were electrical. And that was when I realized that they don't know how to handle that type of. There are a few people who do it, but not the majority don't, and the schools don't even have it. So I had to take the phone, ring panically to the distributor and said, "Oh, I need your help. I don't know if you have any contacts, but I need someone, either a consultant or whatever, who is ready to come down and help out here, because we have the machinery, we want to install them, but there's no one there to touch them because they don't know how to handle them." And we had to take a lot of Skype calls, and he helped out, and finally he said, I think I'll look out for someone who can help you.
That's really kind.
Yeah, very, very kind. So with Skype and WhatsApp we could install most of them, but there are certain functions that we have to program, and we couldn't do, because you have to read through the manuals, and I read through manuals, but I don't know anything.
No, I think also you have to practically work with them to kind of understand.
Exactly. Yeah. And we're doing underwear, and underwear is one of those most complicated. It's very small piece of garment, but yet it's very complicated how to write, because it's something you put around your most sensitive areas, and just the stitching or the seams can irritate you if you just feel them. So you have to think differently. You have to go in for quality materials and quality threads, and so it's a lot. It's a lot. It was a lot, and which I didn't know. I was very.
But you're learning as well. You're learning.
Yes.
But I'm just thinking, also you spoke about having a good relationship with the supplier who helped you out and all that kind of stuff. Did you have any other in your surroundings that were able to? Because your partner came up, identified the need based on what you were doing already, but who else has helped you along this way, and what kind of people have been there to show you?
People in the country, in different Gambia is a very small country. I think population-wise they're 2 million people. Okay, that's very tiny, very small, and very densely populated, because land-wise it's very, very small. And and everything is concentrated in two cities. So people and doing something like what I'm doing, it becomes national news. No one has done it before. So I was everywhere. Publicity-wise, I got it. People were talking about it. I'm doing underwear, and I'm bringing all these experts to help out. I was invited by UN organizations in the country, NGOs. I met the president. I met the vice president. I met several ministers. Everyone wanted to get publicity and associate themselves with me. So it was crazy. So I got that feedback that it's something they welcome in the country. But at the end of the day, they don't really know what actually, how well they can support me. So it's something new. We encourage a lot of people to come in back to the country from the diaspora and help out with this. And look at Elisabeth, she's trying with this, but yet it died there.
Because they need to know like specifically like this is what I can do. Is that?
Yeah, I did produce. I did talk to them what I need, but I was also new, and I was also very overwhelmed with the response I got. So and the country itself is coming from a dictatorship.
Yeah.
They just got rid of their dictator, and I came in like 3 months later with the training and everything.
That's quick.
It was quick. So people were very positive. So what I was doing as a very good sign and something that the diasporans can help out with to help the country grow. Yeah. And at the same time, they were so overwhelmed with every other thing that went on for those past 22 years. Yeah. And so at the end of the day, I'm still struggling on my own, more or less. Yeah. If I go down and meet people, they say, "Oh, we really like what you're doing," but then it's there. There's nothing else they can help out.
But I feel like that's a common thing when it comes to like entrepreneurship. Like you see people, as I was saying before, like you see people doing really well, like they've started selling, they're in the news, being like seeing all the PR, but in the back you don't see that the struggle that they're going through, like the things that you have to do to get your business there, and like the fact that even though you just get published like in a huge newspaper, that doesn't mean that you're where you need to be in your business, like stably, like in terms of like financially and all that kind of stuff. Like there's so much more to it than just that part.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, so it sounds like you've had quite a few challenges and you're still learning. Obviously, I think nothing becomes perfect from the get-go. I think you learn as you go along and you adjust as you're doing. But I'm just thinking, like, what has been your key learning points throughout this process?
Oh, I have several. I'm as you said, I'm still learning, and I learn for every day because trying to run a business remotely. Yeah. I live and work here in Sweden, have a family here in Sweden, and then my business in Africa. So it's a huge challenge to tackle. Yeah. So I learn a lot, and but the biggest thing I think is communication. Yeah. I have to be an expert in communicating with the people that work for me, and it's a challenge. But that's how things are. That's how things have been run. And communication-wise, I have to be very, very, very clear with what I want, how I want it done, and get that feedback right away. So I communicate on daily basis with all staff. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting. I think that goes for any relationship you have, like whether it's your family, your friends, or even your business. I think that it's the building blocks in order for you to do things, to get people on board.
Exactly, and get people feel that they are on board and you know what you're doing. Yeah. And they know that they can always get back to you and get that feedback and get that decision being taken right away, because I'm not there physically. So,
exactly.
So that's maybe the biggest.
That's really interesting
that
though.
I've learned.
Yeah, because I think everyone's talking about this whole like working more digitally and like we should do that, but then the challenges that come with that is obviously the loss of communication, one, but there's probably more things, and the fact that you're kind of learning and like realizing that the community and like being clear with what I want is so important.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And so far it's working for me, but it's just it's something that I work very hard to achieve it on a daily basis. Yeah. How well can I communicate to get the message out and get that communication back to me, that information back to me, and it's with suppliers. You know, I'm dependent because in Gambia or in the neighboring countries, all materials that we use for our production is imported. We can't get it from those neighboring countries. Exactly. So I have suppliers mostly from here in Europe. We buy fabrics from Portugal, from not Egypt, from Turkey. Yeah. Turkey. We just discovered Turkey. So Turkey is a lot cheaper. So our prices are coming down 50%. Just going from Portugal to Turkey. Wow. So and then I have I'm working with a distribution network to distribute our products. Yeah.
Within Gambia?
Yeah, within Gambia, and maybe to Senegal, which is a huge market. There are like 16 million people, and you know, Gambia is only 2.
Yeah, that's a big market.
Exactly. And not only there, because we are looking into distributing through petrol stations, the deal that we just signed, and it's a very big chain, and in several countries in Western Africa. So it's going to be a big thing if we have the production, we get the production right in order to supply to those to that chain.
Yeah, that sounds it sounds so promising. I would love to talk like forever about this. I feel like there's so much to hear and just to see how it's gonna go. But it sounds like you have like a good plan and you're getting somewhere and it's developing kind of, and hopefully like all the publicity will pay off and all the other stuff will pay off so that you can in fact do this. Because I know you mentioned in the beginning that you were working like as a consultant, and I know the life. I used to work as a consultant as well. It's not easy.
No.
And like balancing all of that. But I'm just thinking like, how do you actually manage that? Because you have a full-time job, right? And then you do this. And on top of that, your business is abroad. So it's like, and you have family.
I have family, I have a kid.
Yeah. So how do you do it?
I just it's a good question though. My top priority is work.
Yeah.
And that's my pay, the work that I survive on. And when I go home, it's closed. I don't do it. Then I work with the other thing.
Okay.
So but during the winters, it's only 1 hour difference. For now, I have 2 hours to work with the other before they close. During winters, it's only 1 hour. Then sometimes I like my breaks and I go away for half an hour because I have that flexibility in my
that's
my
really
work.
good. Yeah.
So then all those communications or emails I have to go through, and like I'm on the phone a lot of the time. So I just try to do it whenever I have the chance, and just to check up on production, because mainly it's production, because we started producing for a year ago, but it was more like training, you know, and then for 8 months ago we started selling locally there. And we just ran out of all products that we had.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah, so I wasn't good with the timing to get things refilled, like fabrics, but now I'm getting fabrics from Turkey. Yeah. So we will have a lot to do. And then with this deal we have a lot to do.
Wow.
So so that's how I try to balance it. And yes, I have a kid, but I work a lot. I work a lot. I don't some of my friends have realized that I've not been available as I used to be, and the close ones know I have to focus on this.
Exactly.
And they respect it, and they just support and send their encouragement message sometime. So and with my partner, he's also very involved in it. He supports. Actually, without him, I wouldn't be here. So he's been very, very supportive. And without him, it would have been
it's a whole different. I think that's like we were touching on it before, like the relationships around you make such a huge difference. I know I keep saying this, but it makes such a huge difference to have people that support you. But I think also you realize, especially when you start a business and you're so driven about it, that not everyone's going to be on your side, literally. And that's not to be negative at all, but literally not everyone's going to be on your side. Not everyone's going to understand your drive and your passion for your business, and the fact that this is your baby, you want to drive it forward, you want to see it succeed. So maybe you don't have time to spend 10 hours or like 5 hours on the phone like you used to, because you want to prioritize that. But I think it's good when you have the friends around you, and I think if anything that's when you really realize who are your closest friends.
Absolutely. And yes, those friends that are still around, I've realized are those that really care about me. And the others that I can't just take an after work thing with, and take a glass of wine with. They are not there today, and it's not worth it for now. For now, my priority is my family. Is this thing? Is for the family? Because I'm having 12 employees, and they support almost 100 people. You know how things are in Africa.
Crazy,
So I have to work very hard to make sure that we survive and we take this thing to another level. So because now it's not only me. Now there are people who are dependent on me. And when I realize it's like almost 100 people who dependent on me, I feel like, oh my goodness, then I better do a better job here and support them. Because they are, as I said, I'm doing this remotely, so they are actually the ones doing the job. So I'm just there to help with the decisions and help with the running and of the business and the strategically thinking and planning. So that's what I do. And then I have a very, very good marketing girl who also goes into doing the management part of work on the ground, and she's really, really good. So
perfect. Wow, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of that. I feel like I could speak to you forever. I'd want to know every detail, but I think we'll take that over a coffee or something another time. But I think we're going to end with 5 quick questions, really, really quick answers. Number 1, what did you dream of becoming when you were young?
Oh, that's changed a lot, but I think initially I wanted to be an air hostess.
You're actually the second one who said this.
Because I grew up in a village very close to the airport, and I see all these planes flying, to Gambia. It's all tourists, especially Scandinavian tourists. And so growing up, I see all these planes, and even when I think I was in primary school, we had an excursion to the airport, and we got to climb up the tower and see all this, it's very high up, and you see all this vegetation at the airport, and when the flight is coming down and lifting. And I said, I want to be like those girls. In those days, people were so, hostess were so well dressed. I said, yes, I want to be like them. So,
but now you're something completely different.
And then later on, I wanted to be an engineer, but now you're almost there.
Okay, so question number 2. What's the worst advice you'd ever been given?
Oh, I don't think it's a worse advice. It's something, when you do entrepreneurship, you get a lot of advice, and you have to be very good in valuing those advice and seeing which one is in line with what you're doing and what you're passionate about. And you just try, and sometimes the advice turns out to be not a good one, but it's just, you just learn from it. So it's I see it as okay, this one didn't work out, I'll just learn from it, and I'll not just move on. So I don't see it as bad advice. I see it as just something that didn't fit in that formula or that problem I'm trying to solve.
And what is the number 1 advice that you would give anyone wanting to start their own business?
I would say it's go with your passion, go with what you love, but remember, it is very, very hard work.
Perfect. You're not the only one who said that. Alright, so question number 4. If you had no limits in the world, what would your business look like and your life right now?
If I have no limits in the world, I would love to see my business being the top underwear brand in Africa. As Beyond Body is in Sweden. That's my dream, to be the Beyond Body or the Calvin Klein of Africa. That's my dream, so and that's what I'm working very hard for.
Get in there. And then the last question: what is your number 1 life hack?
I can't come with anything that's of so much value that I'll give to someone.
We'll keep that for another time then.
But one thing I do with the business and even with my work as a consultant is communication has been something I've learned to improve, and I've seen how much value communication has done to me as a person. I was working as a consultant, but even with the business I'm running.
Thank you so much for coming and for just sharing your story and like all the challenges, and hopefully this will be the last of the big challenges and you can just have a successful, flourishing business from here on.
We're just starting, so
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good way.
Yeah, it's a good way. It's a good way.
And I'm thinking, if people want to find you, where do they find you? If they want to get in contact with you, find your brand, where can they find you?
They can find me, email, it's Elisabeth with a Z. I spell my name with a Z, like in the English language, at facilclothing.com. And then we are on Facebook, Facil Clothing on Facebook, or on Instagram, on Twitter, Facil Gambia.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking your time. And it's going to be interesting following your journey and just seeing where it grows.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.
All right. Bye.